Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay Lynn from the macrodiaries.com. Today we're going to cover a few little tips and tricks to navigate Excel a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently. Uh, Coming into Excel, you might be used to using your mouse a lot. I think we all are. You use it a lot for web browsing and a lot of tasks that make sense to be your main mode of navigation. That is, moving about, whatever you're in. Excel, I don't think, is one of those places. Excel is a place where you want to stay on the keyboard as much as possible. I think part of becoming like an Excel master, black belt, whatever you want to call it, is basically being able to do everything without touching your mouse. And a couple reasons for this. Firstly, in Excel, you're doing a lot of typing of numbers, formulas, a lot of just data input. So that all obviously involves using the keyboard. If I'm going through and I'm using the keyboard, the last thing I want to do is have to type an X here, and then click over here and put an X in again, click over here. Like, that's a pain in the butt. No one has time for that. So instead, there's lots of cool ways to do it much more quickly. One of them is in terms of just navigating around, and we'll build on these in coming lessons. But the first is just being able to use your arrow keys. Go left, go right, go up, go down. Pretty basic stuff. And it allows you to hop one cell to the next. You probably already knew this. If not, I just saved you a ton of time and hassle. But let's say you're a little bit more advanced. You're like, oh, well, yeah, that's obvious, duh. What kind of other cool tips and tricks are there? Well, right now I have this big table. I mean, it's a useless table. It's a bunch of X's with some numbers to number the rows and columns, but at least it gives you a big picture understanding of what I'm trying to talk about. So let's say I have this big data array table, and I'm going through, and I want to go all the way to the right. I want to go to the very last column. You can hold down the right arrow key, and you'll get there at some point. Or you can hold down the control button and hit right arrow key, and it will take you there for you. And right there we are. Row or column 424. I can go back to the very far left part of the table by holding down control and hitting left, and I'm right back to the first column. It works the same way with rows. I'm in the top row and I want to go to the last row, hold down control, hit down. When I go to the very top, hold down control, hit up. So that's just a very basic way of jumping to the first and last row or column in a table, array, whatever you want to call it, basically just a collection of data. Now, the other thing I want to show you, or rather warn you about, is when this trick doesn't work so well, or really just when you have to be aware of what's going on. And that's true of anything Excel. Excel is not a magic machine. It does what you tell it to do. It does take a lot of the hard work out of it for you, which is awesome, but at the end of the day, it's going to do what you tell it to do, and it has its limitations. So let's say I want to go back to the bottom row. Over here in the first column, hit control down, 424. I know this is my last row because I made this data table, and I made that the last row. So let's go back up. But let's say over in column J, I want to go to the last row. Hold down control, hit down, and it's showing that I'm on row 252. I know this is not the last one because I know what my data is. But why is it doing that? Well, the reason is because I deleted this row of X's here, just to really to show this. But this is indicative of what you'll see a lot, working in the real world, is a database that has missing columns, missing fields, random blanks in the middle where there should be no random blanks. But I'm sure if it could happen, it will happen, and that's what you'll come across. So you need to be aware. When you hit control down above this blank, above this void, you're taken to the last cell that has stuff in it. Excel doesn't know any better. Excel doesn't really know that where I want to go is row 400 something. It just knows, okay, I'll take you to the last cell with stuff in it before we get to blanks. So I'm up here, control down. I'm over here, control down. We end up in the same place. But if I hit control down again, it actually takes me to the beginning of the next array in the column. And I can hit control down one more time, and I'm finally there. So that's just sort of something you need to be aware of. If you're going through something don't just assume you hit control down once and you're at the bottom of the data. You very well might not be. It's something, if you hit control down again and hit it again, that is a shortcut in trying to find the end. Because I do it one more time and I'm at row 1,048,576, which is by definition like the end of the worksheet. Can be nothing lower than that. So if I hit control up again, that's actually the end of my data table. So this is not take you exactly to where you want to go all the time, but it certainly helps jump through a bunch of stuff instead of having to go manually check. Because I know there's stuff here. If there's a blank somewhere, it's going to stop. So that's just how that works. And of course, you can always use your page up and page down keys if you just want to kind of, I use this a lot when I'm going through and I'm like, oh, I want to see if something sticks out, or I might have something highlighted. And when I punch the page up, page down buttons, I'm guaranteed to see every single row. Maybe not all the columns, obviously, because I can only see as far as you. But it is helpful. And page up, page down, just to kind of visualize what's going on here. You can see I have rows 1 through 25. If I hit page down once, I begin at 26, and I end at 50. I hit page down again, begin at 51, and end at 75. Oops. As you can see, I'm scrolling with the arrow keys now too. But the whole point is you see every visible row in a chunk, and it gives you the next chunk of rows that you could not previously see, and then so on and so forth all the way down as long as you're hitting page down. So it guarantees you'll see every row exactly once, which is helpful when you're just trying to scan through a set of data just to see sort of what's going on. Alright, the last trick I'm going to show you is I think is a great little navigation trick. I use it a lot. I could be anywhere in this table, and if I hit Control Home, I'm back at A1. Matter of fact, I could be at the very bottom of the worksheet and I hit Control Home, I go to A1. Control Home is a great little shortcut because you know exactly what it's going to do. It doesn't change based on what your data structure looks like. When Control Down changes, like in this column it takes me to 252, but in this column it takes me to 424 because there are spaces. But Control Home is like the, oh my gosh, I'm lost. Where am I in this spreadsheet? Just get me back to the beginning. Control Home, damn, back in cell A1. This is something, if you share worksheets with people, if you're working on like a group project at work, or it's a spreadsheet that everyone accesses a lot, Control Home is a really nice thing to do. It's kind of like Blockbuster when they existed, and it was, be kind, please rewind. It's the same sort of thing. If you're working on something and you want it just to be back at the beginning and before you hand it off to somebody else, if you hit Control Home, it's like, okay, I'm at A1. I can work from this, as opposed to being the jerk who scrolls over here and like halfway down the worksheet in the middle of something that doesn't matter. Now, of course, if you want the next person to open it up there, that's fine. That makes sense. But again, a nice little trick in order to make everyone else's lives easier is just Control Home in it before you're done and save out of the worksheet. So I think that pretty much does it with this lesson of navigating Excel. If you have any comments or questions, post them below, and I might just answer them for you. All right, thanks for watching.